You are live. Todd, you are live.
Hey,
Welcome.
what's up, Brian?
Not much, Todd. How are you?
Pretty good, pretty good. Not too
So
bad.
weird to
It's
start a
raining.
conversation all over again, right?
I know, right? Um, yeah, so it's raining over here, which is
Nice.
nice. It's been a
When's the
weird
last
year.
time it rained there?
It lightly rained here a couple of weeks ago.
Okay.
But it we've had a good weather year so far as water goes. I think we're over 2.5 inches right now this time of year, which is really good. But it's warm outside. It's I think it's probably 70 degrees outside right now, so there
Yeah.
won't be any snow with this. It's just water.
Yeah. Well, I'm back in Florida. We came back, my son and I came back yesterday.
Yeah.
Tuesday was like the same in Colorado. It was like 70 degrees. I hit as many colonies as I could. I have some light colonies, so I've started throwing high alive on some of them
Hmm.
because it's too cold to feed syrup in Colorado. It gets
Yeah.
really cold at night. In fact, I was putting on my pink foam boards and I saw some mold on the bottom of some of my inner covers. So they're already getting moisture on the top of those inner covers. So I was a little late on that, which I knew, but they should be okay.
Yeah.
Uh, how are your bees going into winter?
They're strong right now. I I fed them up, treated them with that the Apimon treatments, the Viagra and Beaneral,
Yeah.
and I'm playing around with something else right now, and hmm, all of that seems to be working. So I don't exactly know what's working the best yet, but I'll know in the spring. Um, but that's about it. I put the feeding caps, those tent plugs. I put them on my lids to block the feeding holes because I don't want rain getting in there. And
Yeah.
then I just put a brick on top of that. They're all set. They're pretty much good to go. The next time I bust open a lid will be to put on pollen patty and some fondant after that. So yeah,
Okay.
they're ready. They're
Yeah.
doing good. Yeah.
I cannot see the chat on my side. Can you? When you do this, do you see the chat or do you use your phone to see the chat? How does that work?
Do,
I want to say
do
hi
you
to people, but I don't see anything.
do you see the chat now? Because up there, just to the bottom right of the go live button, there's that comments. You got to click that. You
Say where it comments. Thank you. I was still
Yeah.
playing with
Click.
the banners. That's where it was. I was on banners.
Oh,
Thank you. Hi, Mike.
yeah. So
James is
there.
in. Hey, Dodd. Charlie's in. Hey, Charlie. Charlie, so this one I set up, I tried to make you an admin, but it only allows me one on the free option. So it was Todd. Sorry about that. But you were gonna be my second admin if I could, Charlie.
Now,
Oh, how do I drop a link? How do I do that?
uh, let me. So you
Share
go
your
to
referral link?
Hang on.
Hmm.
You go to the okay. You go to the down on the bottom. There's
Yep.
a plus sign with the person. Do you see
Yes.
that?
Yes.
You click that, and then you could copy that link, and
Yep.
then you could Gmail it or email it, whatever. If you
How do I put it in the chat?
okay, so
Just
um,
paste it to a comment?
yeah, you can paste it to a comment, and then you have to go over to the YouTube side and pin it.
Oh.
Yeah, yeah. It's not as easy as just pushing a button and start talking.
So, folks, this is my first time hosting the StreamYard, so I appreciate all of yours and Todd's patience a little bit. I've been working on playing with some of the buttons, and I do have some stuff set up ready to share, but I haven't even thought about that sharing the link thing until
Until
we
right now.
pop
Me
right
too.
on. Yeah,
I
till
didn't
like
think
10
about it either.
seconds ago. So we'll figure all that stuff out over time. I'm not going to play around with the YouTube part, so for now, I'll just
I'll I'll see if I could do it on this
yeah,
side.
that'd be awesome.
Uh,
I did have a couple of things I wanted to share. At
Hmm.
least you don't do a double screen. Yeah, there you go, Ricky. That added some good conversation too. And it's awesome, like what Brad was saying, the weird names are gone. Well, I see Calvin's name is weird on ours. See, that's weird. The
Oh,
names are
that
weird
is
on
weird.
ours, but it wasn't on Ricky's.
No,
What's up with that?
he was in another dimension, I think. I don't know.
Yeah. All right. So while you're trying to do that, Todd, I'm going to pull something up here.
Yeah, I don't.
Today, I went to, hey, Mike, Big Mike. I went to the Englewood Farmers Market here in Englewood, Florida. I'm back in Florida. Englewood is like central Gulf Coast, if you're not sure, about 40 minutes south of Sarasota, about an hour and a half north of Fort Myers. I'm learning
Hey,
my Florida geography.
hey, Brian.
Yeah.
I am gonna call our tech guy real quick and see because I can't pin it. So
Yeah,
let
I'll
me.
keep talking. So Englewood is near Lemon Bay, or it's right on Lemon Bay. So as you walk to like the main street, I went to the farmers market this morning. Charlie's entered the studio. Maybe he'll just tell us. Wait, that thing disappeared though. How do I let him in? Charlie, it said you entered the studio and then the thing up top disappeared. Oh, never mind. No, I gotcha. There were 2 rows down below, Charlie, and I didn't see the second row because I have stuff set up there to share, like pictures.
All
How are
right,
you
now
doing?
go over to your YouTube side and where you pasted it and click on the 3 little dots.
I'm gonna let Todd do that.
I do it, but when I don't think I could do it from my side.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
So I got to do it.
You
Yeah.
have to do it, Brian. Yeah.
Go and kind of click on the link, and there should be 3 dots off to the right-hand side. Click on the 3 dots.
What do you mean by go to your YouTube side? I don't even have
All right,
YouTube.
you have StreamYard side, and you have YouTube side.
Open, Brian. Go to another tab and open YouTube, and then click on the show and hit mute, and then as the chat is scrolling up, you will see the post that you made with the link, and you'll see 3 dots in the right hand side of that link.
I never see my own posts though. So when I go to my channel on YouTube, I don't see the post that I made. Do I have to search for myself?
Because I can't. I go to the post that you put up there, and it just says report.
I got it. Now I've muted it. Now I go to the 3 dots
and click on pin.
Pin.
It should say pin.
I don't see pin there. Do I have to go back and copy again?
No, pin to the top.
I see community moderation, participants, moderation activity, timestamps, reactions, pop out chat, send feedback.
All right. It's got to be the same YouTube on the same same screen or whatever you want to call it.
That's exactly what I'm seeing right now too, Charlie. So maybe something's messed up with it. I don't know.
Click back out of it, Brian, and then find your YouTube post and like your.
All right, I'm going to keep moving forward. I'll figure that out another time. We'll just post it occasionally.
Go ahead and let's see. Well, it's still there in the chat, so they can click on it.
Yeah, and we'll just post it occasionally.
Yeah.
Okay.
So people can pop in if they want to. So I want to talk about monarch butterflies a little bit tonight because I saw this cool thing. So at the end of Dearborn Street in Englewood, it goes right to Lemon Bay. And there's a little park. It's called Indian Mound Park. There's a Native American burial site there. So I went out there and I was kind of just walking, looking out at the bay, looking at the water. And they had a little plaque that I thought was interesting that I wanted to share with folks. That's not it, but that's something we'll talk about later too. Here we go.
Yep.
So it was a big plaque on monarch butterflies and their migration. That's not going to work because that's going to cover up what I want. And this was really cool. So it talked about their southern migration. It showed like the route. But one thing I thought was really cool was, first of all, they the ones that go south live. The autumn migratory generation lives for 6 to 9 months, like winter bees, right? Then as they migrate back north in the spring, they are successive generations, but the summer generation only lives about 1 month. So as they're going back north, they travel north, they lay eggs, they die, those eggs hatch, they become monarchs, they keep traveling north. So those northbound ones never make it to the end. They're just laying eggs for the babies to go down. So I thought it was cool how they're like winter butterflies and summer butterflies, just like there are winter bees and summer bees. That was my cool takeaway from this one. I don't know much about many other insects besides bees, so it was neat to see that kind of that behavior mechanism working in other insects that go through complete metamorphosis. So that was neat. I got to go to the farmers market today. It was just me. I got some honey. I tried the palmetto honey. No, I tried the Tupelo honey, and it was not very good. I'm not sure if it was their Tupelo honey or just Tupelo honey, but that one wasn't my favorite. I tried the saw palmetto honey, and that one was okay. I ended up getting some orange blossom honey. Bought some eggs from a chicken guy. Just talked shop for a little bit, talked market vendor scene, that kind of thing. But it was fun to kind of see a different market and see how it runs and
So
be there from a different perspective.
what did the Tupelo honey taste like? Is it sweet?
She said it was buttery. I didn't really get the butteriness from it. I'm not the most. I don't have the best palate, Charlie. So nor do I have the words to describe it. Yeah.
For me, honey tastes like honey.
Sweet. One time, Jen tried to call one of our honeys savory, and I gave her the biggest death look ever. I was like, "Don't ever call my honey savory. What the hell is that?" So, that's a description I don't want for honey at all.
Did you identify yourself when you were talking to the beekeeper?
Not really, but I ended up having a conversation with 2 other customers. Like, how does a beekeeper know it's this kind or this kind or this kind, right? So yeah. I'm sure the lady behind the booth, who wasn't the beekeeper for sure, picked up that I was a beekeeper from that conversation, because I was basically doing her job for her.
Or maybe it was the hat.
Maybe it was the hat as well. Yep, I had a conversation about my hat today too. I had a short sleeve on, so I had my tattoo showing. So that was it for as well.
Nice.
DC says, I consider honey savory when it has that back end long flavor to it. Yeah, and I can see some of the darker honeys definitely doing that, but that's not our honey at all. So I'm not sure. Sometimes Jen just goes with whatever pops into her brain. And she goes with it, and then like later she's like, what did that mean? I don't know, you said it. So it's just how she rolls sometimes.
You don't have dark honey up there in Colorado, do you?
Not where I am. If you go to alfalfa, it'll get dark a little bit. So if you go farther north of me where there's bigger alfalfa fields, but not where I'm at necessarily. And I've got bees all over the metro area, so it's not just one part,
Yeah. My late summer honey can get darker than, well, it's a medium amber or maybe a little darker than that. That's about it.
Yeah.
It's definitely not like buckwheat honey.
Yeah. Now, Charlie, I'm glad you popped on today because our conversation was going to refer to you a little bit. You're one of those people that has a really good video on our topic tonight. tonight we wanted to talk a little bit about
there you go.
honey warmers. Yep. This is one of my honey warmers. This is a tiny little, it's basically a college size fridge that was converted into a honey warmer. You can see I've got 4 cases of honey in here. You can see the heating lamp over on can you see my cursor, my arrow?
No.
Okay, so as I'm pointing at things, that means nothing to you. Is there a way, Charlie, I can use a pointer? What if I click the pencil? What happens then?
I don't know.
No.
That's an add item. I'll cancel that. Okay. Well, anyway, there's a little ink bird on the left-hand side. There's a fan up top. It's got the thermostat that comes through the back, kind of right behind the light. And I've got another one inside the house about the same size. You can see on this picture to the right of it, that's my refrigerator, and this is in my garage. That's where I set all my creamed honey. So I have space for a full-size fridge, but right above this is a cabinet. So I don't have room for another one. In an ideal world, I would have another full-size fridge. Todd sent me this picture. What a great setup that would be for a honey warmer, right?
Yeah.
That is ideal. So, Charlie, you've got a really nice honey warmer video. One of the
I just have a common refrigerator.
Yeah, but what's different about yours is you've got the freezer up top that you use as the incubator for your cells, and then the refrigerator part is your honey warmer. That's one thing that's different about your setup than I've seen of other people's that I really love.
Yeah, the only problem I have is if I'm using the incubator and I'm trying to heat honey in below, which normally I'm not in the summertime, that heat transfers up, and there is like a pipe or something that goes from the refrigerator up into the freezer, and trying to control the heat up in the incubator is tough.
Now, do you ever use your honey warmer part, the refrigerator part, during the season when you've got
it's being run right now?
Yeah.
It's been running for the last 3 or 4 months.
Yeah. And then you look at people like Gus Mitchell. He's got a really nice honey warmer video. Joey Rawls and Mike Barry, they have a really nice honey warmer video. And then DC recently just made a really nice honey warmer. I was a little bit jealous of that one. It looks really nice. But hey, Tom and Melissa. Hey, Brian. Hey, DC.
Throw that link up again, Brian.
Yeah, it's a great idea. And I do that by going to, this is great practice.
The person
copy. Yep. Perfect.
Yep.
And then I'll paste it here. It made me think, one of the things I thought about is different reasons for using a honey warmer. And then I started thinking to myself, why do people in really warm climates need a honey warmer? Why does someone in Alabama isn't Alabama itself a honey warmer? Right? Why do you need a honey warmer in a warm climate? And I get it, it's got winter and it gets colder, but there are different reasons for using a honey warmer. For me,
y'all want guests, right?
It depends. Melissa's welcome always. We'll just put it that way. Of course. In the summer, I don't use my honey warmer for decrystallizing or preventing honey from crystallizing at all. I use my honey warmers for infusions. I can set it at a nice low heat, and it's providing a little bit of heat to pull that flavor out of whatever I'm infusing into the honey, but it's not heating that honey up so much that it's going to damage the honey. I'm not sitting it in the says I'm really Melissa is entering the stage. How's it going, Tom?
Yeah.
Hey guys.
So my honey warmer in the summers for infusions. I did a lavender infused honey. We do like an espresso infused honey. Anytime I want to pull that flavor out of whatever I'm putting into the honey, that's what I'm using my honey warmer for in the summer. Then as it starts to get, and all summer long, I'm dancing with my creamed honey. I'm putting my creamed honey in that fridge, making sure it's really cold, taking it to the market in a cooler. Once it comes back from the market, it's going right back into the fridge. I'm playing with the delicate nature of creamed honey all summer long. And then the temperatures shift. And my focus as far as taking care of my products shifts tremendously too. My liquid honey will crystallize really quickly. Now, I don't have to worry about that in August. But once it starts getting cooler, I do. So that honey warmer then becomes exactly what you saw me doing with it, is keeping honey from crystallizing in between events, right? So how do I add the picture to the stage? There you go. That's the wrong picture, though. I don't know how to scroll.
So your honey that's already bottled you have a crystallization problem.
That's right. That's right. So at this time, both of my honey warmers are full of honey that's already been jarred. That's a liquid honey that I don't want to crystallize in between events. So that makes it hard for me to do infusions at this point. So I've got these two little fridges, and I wish I had something big. I wish I had a giant, like the one that Gus Mitchell has is huge. You can put like 3 buckets in there and a whole bunch of things. I don't have that luxury. I've got a little bit of space. Now, Todd and I were talking about this earlier in the week, and, one of those things that's really nice is that Hilco, that dual purpose thing that's a honey warmer and a refrigerator for creaming honey. And I think that's a really good product for someone for doing things on a small scale. But I think at a certain point, when you do a lot, you need a machine to do one thing. You need one thing that's a dedicated honey warmer and a dedicated refrigerator. So I think that's a great product for certain people. But for me, I needed something that was dedicated to that job the entire time. And I learned that from my Lyson creamer. I bought that 18-gallon Lyson creamer, and I was like, sweet, that's my bottling tank. That's my creaming machine. No, I was making so much creamed honey in that. Very next year, I went back to Nabby and I bought another bottling tank just like it because I needed a dedicated machine for that job. And I think honey warmers are the same. If you're a certain scale, you can get away with that dual purpose product. But at some point, if you're going to be moving a lot of honey, then you really probably want a dedicated piece of equipment to do that.
Well, I mean, as much as you go, I mean, you're out there, what is it, 2 to 3 shows a weekend?
Mostly 2, yeah. Occasionally
2
more
shows
than
a
that.
weekend. You're pumping out a lot of product.
Yeah.
And you are constantly, I'm sure, trying to keep up a supply line for whatever different products that you're selling.
Yep.
And that's where, like you're saying, that's where it's at. You need a dedicated one for your cream, a dedicated one for runny honey. It's just like I was going to say the same thing about your Lyson creamer. I didn't think about you using the tank, but going from the drills to finally getting the machine and spending that money. And now that can do everything by itself while you're over here getting candles done or something like that.
Doing other stuff. You got it. Man. That's right. Yep. It's
in fact, and then people talk about, the money, and I'm like, equate it to honey money. You're selling enough product.
Yeah.
These are going to pay for the machine if you're going to push the product.
And that's a concept I learned out of one of Bob's Binney videos way back when, is if you can justify the expense on the back end and the money you're going to be able to make back on that investment, go for it. Don't wait. Just go for it, and you'll be glad you did.
See, I'm looking for that Coke machine right now. As a matter of fact, I sent that picture to Brian.
I thought JW had one for you.
Yeah. How in the world am I going to get that back here?
I don't know what it was. JW had one, and somebody was going to pick it up and take it or something.
That was like last year. He offered it to me. I think he offered it to someone else, but
I think Matt took it.
Yeah, cool.
I think Matt took it.
Oh,
so Tom, you guys have a honey warmer?
We do. We have just what you described. We bought John Hill's refrigerator warmer.
Yeah.
Before then, what I was doing was I would go from the drums straight to all the buckets. So it's easy to manage, easy to handle, because we keep all that stuff at our house, in our garage, and then a couple of dedicated areas downstairs. And you've seen us before, Brian, a little room. And then Melissa has her little, I call it a nerd factory, whatever. But, so the thing that stinks about having it at your house, and it kind of drives me nuts, if I'm being really honest, but I don't like the messes here.
Yeah.
Another thing I'll say is I don't like bringing people besides friends to my house. I don't like bringing customers here. Most of the time we send them to markets or a couple stores we sell in, things like that. I don't like people coming to my house, only because this is like my let your hair down sort of area. You don't have to whatever, right? It's just kind of your safe area. And I like when I'm done at work, however many hours I work, I come home and it's like so I don't like having all this stuff here because it commingles in with your, he doesn't like a lot of the actual flowers in it. No. I don't mind them if they're in a dedicated space. The lawn is not a dedicated flower space. Okay, Brian? Okay, Brian. But it's always kind of a pain because you're always trying to shift things around, move stuff from here to there. And I don't keep any machines here at my house. Those all stay at the shop, but we don't process honey up there. So I can't move big things around here. So we put them all into 5-gallon buckets and then take them downstairs to put them in the warmer as we need to. And then they go into the bottling tank. But Brian, you're absolutely not wrong with talking about having one that's dedicated for setting up creamed honey and one that might be used for warming. Right now, we're using that one kind of ambidextrously, and it's working at what we're doing. So I'm gonna let it ride for right now. But I was gonna make a point here earlier too, to kind of to your point, Brian, when I was gonna say sometimes when people I think are selling honey, they don't take into account and consider, okay, yes, you have the cost of the bees, the equipment, potential treatments if you do that, and time for management. But then after you process the honey, you're not thinking about how many different warmers, refrigerators, electrical items do you have plugged in? Who's accounting for electricity? I don't know about you guys, but it's gotten increasingly expensive.
Hey, Glade.
And if you're not taking into consideration that to some degree, I really think you're kind of missing out a little bit. And again, it might be more of a smaller chunk of that revenue out of there, but it's still a piece. So I kind of try to stay conscious of that. And so I haven't gotten any bigger coolers or warmers or things like that. At some point, if we, buy a property and build a dedicated house, then I can control all those costs, very minutely with that too. So we'll see, how that looks in the future, but for now I'm going to keep the landscaping. I know it well, and I feel like I assume less risk.
Yeah.
Beekeeping is risky. I've learned just enough to know that.
Brian, can you put that Coke machine up real quick?
Maybe. Yes, there we go.
So one, this is one that I'm looking at right now on Facebook Marketplace. But the reason why, and I don't know why it is, but the reason why I'm looking at this particular one, which by the way, it doesn't cool, and that's okay for me. But that center strip in the door, by the way, those are sliders that go left and right. Mm-hmm. The center strip on the back of that center strip, there are shelving grabbers or whatever you want to call them. And then at the back of the machine in the center, there's another strip of shelving grabbers. So what I'm saying is those 6 shelves that are in there are independent. They're not all one piece, as you can tell by the picture. And what I like about that is that I could take, like, for instance, the shelves on the right-hand side, I could take those out, or I can move them up. But I could stack 3 buckets in there. And what I'm planning on doing is I'm going to drill a hole in the side of one of these things, just big enough to put a plug through. I'll put a reptile light in there. these units have fans up at the top. So if I can get away with using the fan that's already in the unit, I will. If not, I'll run another cord through that hole and put a fan in there, a small fan, just to circulate warm air, and obviously seal those holes up, or one hole up, and then use it that way. I would like to get one that cools. I might know somebody who could change the compressor for me and stuff. But the way I look at it is it's a gigantic Hilco fridge, freezer, or, warmer, cooler. Because if I could cool it to 55 degrees, I'll put my creamed honey in there in the when I'm done making it, and I could store it in there when I don't have runny honey that I have to keep warm. So I'll have to cut production off one side or the other as far as cold or hot, but that's what I kind of want to do with this thing. But it's weird that I cannot find a lot of units that have those. I don't even, what are those called, do you think, Brian or Tom or Charlie? The pegs that you would put in to put the shelving in.
Shelf pegs? I don't know.
Yeah, but I would think they're all like, the same, but they're not. Some are solid shelves that go all the way across.
Yeah.
And you can't do much with that. I mean, you can't put any, but you could put one bucket in there probably.
There's a lot of versatility with this shelf system.
With this one, absolutely.
Yep, I agree. Now, Todd, this shows up in your driveway tomorrow. Where does it go in your house?
Oh, I will store that in the garage. I'll put it in the garage.
Okay.
It's already sealed up.
Garage?
Yeah. I could find room in my garage.
Yeah. And that becomes the next problem when you start accumulating equipment like this, is that place to put it all, right?
Yeah, that is kind of an issue.
You saw mine in my garage, and Tom mentioned a little bit about electric. I've blown a fuse by putting too many things in my garage, right? So I've got to unplug something if I want to run something else at times. Now, not the 2 refrigerators, but if I want to use my wax melter, that'll blow the fuse, and I've got to unplug one of my refrigerators so it doesn't do it. So it becomes an infrastructure issue, not an equipment issue.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where I'm at. And I've started thinking about, and this can got kicked down the road with some other financial stuff we've been doing, but I started thinking about buying a house to use as a commercial kitchen. And like Tom said, that separation of house and work is so nice. And I thought about making it a honey house and like renting it out to other sideliner size beekeepers and using that as like a maker's house. And that's my honey house. And it's an investment. And then down the road, I can sell it. And it's just a real estate investment. But that's an idea for another time. But that's going back to the same idea of that dual purpose thing, right? My house right now is my workspace and my personal space. And it sounds like Tom and Melissa have done a way better job of separating that out. Man, they've got that basement level. Like they've got the house part, and then the basement is their maker's space and their honey room, or not where they spin honey, but where they process all their honey. So there is, at least for them, a separation in their house. That would be really nice to be able to, drive a mile or two and go to work and come home and not have to deal with all the messes, and even just mentally separating work and personal stuff. Hey Clay, hey Philip. We got some others trickling in now.
Brian, I think you hit the nail on the head. For me, it's a mental thing. As much as the mess here, I need to be able to, I don't know how do I say this, clock out from the day.
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
Absolutely.
I like to compartmentalize everything the way I do it. And I have to check all the boxes that I have set forth for myself for the day or the week or the month. And it's difficult if I don't check the boxes for me the way that my mind operates. It bothers me, and it bothers me a lot. So I mean, that little basement space that you're talking about, I don't know that we've done that great of a job at it, but for what we're doing right now, it works and it's cost effective. I haven't had to sink tens of thousands of dollars into anything, into making that little space. And, luckily, like we've talked about before, I don't have any little kids running around here. So that allows me some freedoms in some ways. I don't have to worry about safeguarding little children away from certain things. Like, for example, if there's anybody in here that has little bitty kids, definitely don't let them have access to a room that has extremely heavy honey tanks on a table or something that's not extremely sturdy. These little things that pop up in my head, when you think about how sturdy is something, what does it look like? So I don't know. I just, all these little things you kind of try to think about and think through, and you're always trading off one thing for another,
Yeah. Yep.
Hey, Brian, I'm hoping maybe you and I can utilize some of this thinking right here in February, because this is bringing me into giving me thoughts about February.
Yep.
Specifically.
Yep. That rabbit hole, right? The rabbit hole that when you get the bug of beekeeping, just beware of what happens to your life, what happens to your kitchen, what happens to your garage, what happens to other hobbies, right? Beekeeping is bad for other hobbies, that's for sure.
It really is.
If you get into it, and
yeah. I know some folks will try to want to get into beekeeping because it seems fun and adventurous and you're a farmer of sorts or whatever. But I will always try to explain to somebody when you ask them, say, well, just out of curiosity, what makes you want to beekeep? And it's like, well, I just want to help the bees. And I'm like, okay, that's a noble thought, right? But I would say the biggest impression you're going to make is if you have the time to follow through. If you already have an extremely hectic work life where it's very demanding of you, and there's big periods of time where you can't dedicate any time toward beekeeping, I would say, if somebody was to ask my advice, I would say maybe pause that for a different time of your life, because the bees are not going to wait for you to become unbusy, or it's like, oh, hey guys, we'll wait to swarm until he frees up on Saturday, right? Or 2 weeks from now kind of deal. So something to think about.
Yeah, you bet. I'm learning all these different buttons. This is fun.
Like a kid in a candy store.
Yeah, kind of. And Todd and I were talking, neither of us are super tech guys, but we muck through, but we'll get there. The more we do it, the more fluid it'll become.
If you do it 3 or 4 times, then you kind of get the gist of it.
Charlie's our technical advisor.
So my job today was to learn how to put pictures on so I could share pictures, and then learn how to do the banners part as well. And then I have other learnings that are just happening by just being here.
Charlie, quick question. On your warmer, what do you have the Inkbird set at?
110.
110. Do you always keep it that high?
Yeah, I used to keep it higher, like 115.
Yeah.
And if you have something that's crystallized, you got to get it around 115 in order to get it decrystallized. But the honey that I got right now is my honey that I don't think it has crystallized yet, or it might get a little thick and gritty.
Yeah.
But I keep it right around 110. And the big thing is it's keeping the environment of the cabinet at 110.
Yeah. Not the honey.
It's not the honey. You have to, if you open the honey up, it's in buckets. I got 3 buckets in there. Yeah. If you probe the honey in the bucket, it might be in the 90s.
Yeah. Yeah.
And what I do is I want it, keep it from, getting thick and crystallized. I want it runny, or like normal honey coming out of the extractor, basically. Yeah. And then when I put it in my bottling tank, I run it through that bucket strainer again, where I take the coarse out and just pour it through the fine. And like I just loaded it last Saturday, I think it was. It was still warm, and I had 1 bucket. I guess what? There was a bee in there, and that's where that strainer comes. I've had a few bees over the last period of. I mean, it goes from the extractor to the bucket. there's always a bee somewhere is flying around. It'll get in there.
Yeah.
And all that stuff.
Um,
And then,
what do you set your bottler at then? Is it a heated bottler?
yeah, I got a max ant. I range it between 82 and 92.
Okay.
It's 92, 94. The hash marks are actually 2-degree marks.
Mm-hmm.
So it's right. No more. It gets close to, let's say 92 to 94 is the top limit and 82 is the bottom limit.
So guys, you bring up a really important point. It's not just having a honey warmer. Sometimes it's how you use it. Like Charlie, one thing we've talked about before is you can decrystallize honey in your honey warmer, but a lot of times you'll still get that crystallization on the bottom level, and you've got to put it in water to actually get that bottom level reliquefied.
Oh, you mean the skim?
Yeah.
That last half inch, quarter inch. Yeah. Now, if it's really crystallized, or I've had honey where it's a solid block.
Yeah.
And it's liquid underneath and maybe around it. It's kind of like a floating honey puck in there.
Yep.
And that heating tank, it just ain't going to cut it. It'll get there, but the best way to do that is that's when you got to get like my mother's old canner out, and she had this lattice woodwork, so the water could go underneath the bucket.
Yeah. So
it's underneath and on the sides, and I'd put the honey in there and then keep pouring water in there and turn the heat on, and then I probed the honey for temperature, and I used to probe the water, but the water might get up to 150 or more degrees, but the honey, I want to keep it I try to keep it no more than about 100 degrees, to try to get, you got to get it to where it's crystallized. And then I got to set myself on a timer every 10 minutes, go in there and take and I got I went up to the Amish country and they had wooden spoons, and they had big, long wooden spoons. And I'm sitting there, doing that. So I've got that much, about 4 to 6 inches of spoon sticking up there that I can grab and stir that stuff to get that honey on the bottom that's maybe warmer coming up to the top and getting the cold, just to stir it around and keeping the honeys evenly heated.
Yeah.
And then, and that's why I got a Max Ant water jacketed 25-gallon or 300-pound bottling tank. And I looked at that and like that to me is my storage tank, and it just made life so much easier. I used to have to I had a bottling bucket like Phil did, and I kept it in the heating hot box to keep the honey warm so it would flow. And then I'd have to carry it up staircase to the kitchen, put it on the kitchen table, sit there and do the bottling. And it just about killed me, especially if you got a 55-gallon bucket of that stuff.
Yep.
So then when I got my bottling tank, and then I got Mike Berry had it, and a couple of different other beekeepers on the internet had it, which they had a Harbor Freight scissors lift. Yep. And there's two. Joey's got the 500-pounder. It's narrow, and I got the 1,000-pound unit. It's got a 2-inch or 3-inch wider table. The wheels are heavier. Joey's already had to replace his wheels. They crushed.
Gosh, holy cow!
Used a what? Used
cattle manure fork.
Okay.
That explains things.
Yeah.
Okay. We all think he's joking.
Yeah, right.
So I set it up on the back porch of the house, where I just walk from the kitchen right to the back porch, the enclosed porch, and then I can jack it up. And that was one thing why I bought the 1,000-pound one. I'm looking at, okay, you got the amount of water in that jacketed machine. You got the weight of the machine. You got 300 pounds of honey in there. So you've got 500 pounds at least of weight on top of that scissors lift. So I jack it, I leave it in the low position when I'm not doing anything, and I jack it up. Right next door is a table. I can put my bottles. I can put my scale there. I weigh every bottle because I found that you can't go by the fill line, because a 1 pound plastic is pretty accurate. A 2 pounder, you're half inch below the fill line. 3 pound bottle, you're definitely an inch below the fill line to get to keep it at 3 pounds. And people, I know a lot of you guys, I know Tom and them have one of them fill master, pumps and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I don't, I'll do 25, maybe 30 pounds in bottles a week. And that's it. I can do that in about 10 minutes with a manual 1 drip max ant valve.
Yep.
It's easy peasy.
Yeah.
Whereas now, when you guys, like you were talking about 2 shows a weekend, and Tom does shows, and you're talking about, I need so many cases of 1s and 2s and whatever else and then you're also pumping creamed honey and things. In your situation, you're a couple steps ahead of me as far as volume, and you need that machine. And you're set up with it. I mean, I seen Tom's setup in the basement where you got the pipeline coming out, going right to the machine, right from the fill tank, and all that stuff. And it's perfect for what they're doing.
So whether it's a honey warmer or a bottling tank, I think a lot of us who have played with honey have experienced the fact that it's easier to keep it liquefied than to re-liquefy it once it's crystallized. And that's what a lot of us are trying to do here. Sometimes you have to, but ideally you can keep it at the state you want it.
I mean, for me, the bottling tank is a huge labor saver for me.
Yep.
Huge. And I got the setup with the I spent the money for the scissors lift. And all right, before that, with that bucket, it was like, well, let's wait till, you're almost completely out, or you're out of your stockpile in your stock room of bottles. And then you got to, first, a lot of times that bottling bucket, it wasn't warm enough and it wasn't pouring real fast and all that stuff. And then all that, and you have to carry it up the staircase. And it was just it was a job. And now all I do is walk out to the back porch area, the enclosed porch, step on the pump treadle, pump the table up. I got a chair sitting there. I got my table already there, set up my scale. I got my bottles there. I got a bag full of lids, and I'm just going, Phil, you're done. I tear weight it, all right, it's full, put the cap on it. And then after I get everything filled, and I label. And like I say, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, I'm done pouring. Yeah. And the heat of the honey is also important, I found, especially with the bottling tank. You don't want it 100 degrees because it's so liquefied. It cavitates when you're pouring it in the bottle, and it makes all these air bubbles and stuff. So you want to keep it in that 90 degree at the high end. It's thicker, and when it goes into the bottle, it doesn't sit there and churn and make all these air bubbles.
Yeah, that's a good point.
It's almost like when you're pouring it in there, rather than it going and sinking down into the liquid, it stacks. So you're creating less air cavitation inside there. I know exactly what you're talking about, Charlie. Yeah. And you are 100% correct. And
I overnight, what little bubbles are in there, they'll come up to the top, but you don't have a big bunch of foam on the top. I don't want no foam, in the bottle for presentation. Mm-hmm. And, but that's something that I learned, and then, let's say like last week, I was going to fill that. I dropped almost 100 pounds of honey into that tank. Well, before I did that, I filled my reserve, in the back here with all my extra bottles, because as soon as you start pouring honey in there, now you're creating more air bubbles.
Yeah.
And I want that tank to sit there and warm for 2 or 3 days and let all that stuff come to the top. And then when you're pouring, you don't have any of that in the tank.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do that at least 1 day in advance. So like you're saying, if we know we've got to pour a bunch, we'll check the tank. And if we need to, at least 1 day in advance, we'll pour a couple buckets in there, let it settle. And any of that, just that little bit of light layer of maybe foam or whatever might be in there, it'll rise back to the top.
Right.
And then when you're bottling from the bottom part, which is all very clear.
And and doesn't have any air.
Mm-hmm.
And something I've noticed with my bottling tank is you're better off keeping it as full as possible. It becomes like the honey is the heat sink. So it doesn't warm. It'll go for hours until it cools down enough in order to have to rewarm.
Mm-hmm.
It might go for 3 or 4 hours before it kicks in again.
Yeah. Our honey room in the wintertime being in our basement, and it's very climate controlled and it's not damp or wet or anything, but it'll stay, much like a basement would, it'll stay just a little bit cooler, maybe by 5 degrees. But what's interesting is because we have those 3 bottling tanks in there, they're always on. But like you said, Charlie, we do the exact same thing. When we maybe need to put honey in there that might have had a little bit of crystals left in it, we turn it up we do it anywhere between 104 to 106. I'm not saying that hasn't hit 110 before, but that's the mark I shoot for. And then after we got it where we want it to, I drop it all the way back down to anywhere between 80 and 90 degrees. Somewhere right in there is where it sets out all the time.
I keep the bottling tank at 80 to 90 all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I get rid of all them. I mean, there might be most of the time I have very little, actually no crystals at all coming out of the hot box.
That's good.
At all. And that's why I wanted to go through that screen.
Mm-hmm.
Because you'll know if you got crystals when you're going through that fine screen. It won't go through that screen.
Charlie, you're putting that screen on top of your bottling tank and pouring.
Yeah,
How does that screen stay there?
Huh?
How does that screen stay there?
Well, it's the screen you use on a 5-gallon bucket. So I went out here and got 2.5-inch square. I made up 2.5-inch square hard maple sticks.
Okay.
To bridge across there, and then you put that screen they wrap over each of the wooden sticks.
Okay.
And I'm not going to pay Max Ant $500 for some screen thing. I got this bottling screen right here, works great. And that was another thing I had to do was I'm big on keeping like the bucket at waist level when I'm working with something. I can't.
Yeah.
It's hard on me.
Well, instead of paying for that screen, you paid for the scissor lift. So that does that job for you.
Well, it keeps that tank low.
That's right.
All the time.
Yep.
So yeah, because that scissor lift is about $400.
Yeah, so that's an investment. And I've had the problem. I don't fill buckets up to 60 pounds anymore. It's too heavy for my back. And then when you get up here and you're trying to pour it, what a pain in the ass that is.
And what I did was I went out to the shop and I made myself a platform out of 2-inch, 1.5-inch or 2-inch pine. And I put lag bolts in there. Okay. Heavy, no little things, big lag bolts. And I got it sitting there and I bring that thing out, and that platform is the same height as the scissors lift platform when it's down low. So when I stand up on it, I'm standing up above my tank.
Yeah.
So I'm at waist level I got the bucket kind of curled around my arm.
Sure.
Or my arms curled around the bucket, around that, the handle part. So I can kind of, lean into it and dump it into the thing. And like you said, Brian, this year I had I had some shoulder issues because I hurt it helping my son out on the farm. And when I was, spitting honey out, I'll fill that bucket 5-gallon bucket with honey out of the extractor, and I would bring it up to the bottom of the sieve, of the bucket sieve. And it would normally be 54, 55 pounds. It's getting a little heavy and it's a little awkward.
Yep.
And now I said, why am I doing this? I got plenty of buckets. So I got buckets now. I'm running at 45 pounds. And it's less, it's 10 pounds less weight, but you can handle that bucket with a lot more ease.
Yep. And I'm at 50 pounds. I'm topping them off at 50 pounds just so I can do the math later, and then I have a sticker on every bucket that says,
I do too. I weigh every bucket. I put light honey, dark honey. Yeah. I put the moisture content for every bucket.
Oh, I don't do that.
It'll be, I know that Phil was talking about it on the other channel,
Yeah.
When he said 19%, man, I'm like, holy smokes.
Yeah.
I mean, I get real antsy at 18%.
Do you see much variation in your moisture content?
My honey, I like it at 17 to 17.5%. And that's where I like it to be. Most of the time it is. I might hit an 18, maybe, 18.5 is the absolute top end of, the legal thing of quote dry honey or whatever you want to call it, moist honey. And that's where I'm at.
Brian, you want to put that link up one more time?
You bet. Yeah. So I only started using my refractometer recently, and it was only when I started making hot honey, because our honey here is so dry. I've never even bothered. But multitasking, sorry. I just put it in banners. That's what I get for multitasking. But when I was making hot honey,
it's not
that's when I was starting to add moisture into my honey and starting to worry about the moisture content, and really pulled out the refractometer and started using it. Hey, Joey. So I don't test. My point is this: I don't test my honey regularly because I know it's going to be so darn dry that I don't have to worry about that.
It's your environment, Now, a lot of times anymore, the last several years, I go out to the hives there, and I will test individual frames to see where I'm at. Because like last year, I went out there and tested. It was high, and I left it on the hives for another 2 weeks to dry it down, because humidity plays a big part here.
Yeah, I bet Glade's a lot like me. Right, that's pretty low. And using
now 14 to 16,
that's where I'm at all the time.
That's pretty darn thick.
With that, when you're getting down below 16%, you're going to have a hard time getting the honey out of the comb because it's so dry. And I think Glade, I watched one of his videos where he really turned the heat up, even though he's hot out there in the desert. He turned it up even more in the room in order, I think, to get the honey to flow out. And that's what the hot room is all about. And like Bob Benny talks about all that stuff, it's get the honey to sling out of the frames. And a lot of people, they talk about what it takes 10 minutes to run the honey extractor. I said, well, not mine. I get, I'm of course a one-man band, and by the time I put all that in there and I kind of get that thing running, I'm running it for 20 minutes.
So I have a story along those lines, Charlie. I manage a couple of colonies for some people, and this one couple is a young couple. They're fairly well off monetarily, but super busy. They got married a couple of years ago, and one of their friends bought them a beehive and 2 years of management. So I've been working with them for 2 years. This is my second year, with the idea of teaching them along the way. So last year I met with the guy pretty much once a week, and we went out fairly regularly into the bees. And that was the first year. So we got the honey supers on. They drew out some comb. They got maybe like 3 frames worth of honey. But this year was different. They did a lot of traveling, And I essentially got paid to take care of their bees without doing much teaching at all. So I didn't really make my money on that one. So when the guy called me up and he's like, I'm going to be back in town in October. I'd love to learn how to do the honey extracting with you. Can we come
Already
over?
over with.
Like,
You're done.
right. So that was my mistake, Charlie. I said, yeah, sure. Because I felt bad because they didn't get their money's worth. So their 2 honey supers sat in my shed till about 2 weeks ago. They came over to my place, spun it out, and I had huge problems with the temperature because it just sat there and it was so thick. Like that honey, if I spun out in 90-degree weather, would have been fine. But I even put my heater in my shed the entire day, thinking that would heat up. That honey spun out, but it just stuck to the walls and went down slowly. And then my basket started slowing down because it was hitting the honey. And I was like, I've got to stop this. So I had to stop it and wait for it to drain and start it and wait for it to drain. And so they wanted to go home with the book.
It actually built up on the walls.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh.
To the point. And what's cool about the Lyson is it starts hitting it, that engine automatically slows down. Like it's triggered to slow down based on it. Because at first I'm like, why is this slowing down? What's wrong? So it took me a minute to figure out what the reason was. But so long story short, I was like, you know what, folks, I'm going to have to do this all night long. You're going to go home. I'm going to keep doing this. I'll let you know when the bucket's ready. Right. So I was doing this all night long. At some point, I went to bed and I left it draining out of the extractor and I turned on the dishwasher before I went to bed. Now, the dishwasher in our kitchen is right along the wall, and on the other side of that wall is the outside, and there's an outlet there that I had plugged my cord in to go to my shed, which is my honey house. When I turned on the dishwasher, that blew my fuse. That was the coldest night so far. I went out to frozen honey in my honey shed. There's a honeysuckle coming down out of the gate from my extractor. That was such a nightmare to have to deal with. It took me 2 days to get all that honey out, strain it all, and get it to them. What a nightmare. So I learned my lesson on that one.
Brian, I was just going to say the silver lining to that is
you
learned the hard way and you will never, probably never do that again.
I'm good at learning the hard way. Yep.
So am I.
Yeah. I do that too. It's the only way to learn sometimes.
But that I never seen that extreme.
Oh, that was a nightmare, man. I was like, I'll leave it on all night long. It'll be fine. I'll come out at 5, see what it looks like. Not so much.
Kind of on this topic, and you've hit on it a couple times about plugging things in and tripping a breaker or fuse or whatever that is.
Yeah.
I have actually thought about that before we put like those 3 bottling tanks down there. I ran dedicated circuits over to those. So they're all on dedicated circuits. So either if you have the ability to do it yourself or can pay somebody to do it, it always is a good idea to think about when you're going to purchase something, especially something that consumes a lot of energy or power. Anything that requires a heater consumes a lot of power. Anything that has a big motor and it consumes a lot of power. So think about that. You may want to consider having a dedicated circuit on that. Just like Melissa's wax melter. She said, yeah, I noticed whenever, I think where she has her little wax melter plugged into, I think that's on the same circuit as my son's bathroom. Well, when they're in there, I have the lights on, he has the blow dryer going and something, and then that kicks on. She's like, yeah, trip the breaker. And I'm like, okay, so we need to make a designated circuit for that specifically for the warmer. And that was our last purchase from this last year. So this winter, that's part of my projects is running another dedicated circuit for that specifically. But we're also going to run a couple of designated circuits up to the garage. And one is particularly for the Lyson uncapper, rather than having an extension cord go on the floor, which if you were in an industrial setting, that's a no-no. OSHA would hit you with a violation on that. They have to come in from overhead with a SO cord with a locking plug on them. So I'm actually going to drop a couple of outlets in the ceiling so I can plug some things up high and just drop a short whip down for the, so something to think about if people are trying to set up something that's more efficient. Think about that, where your electric sources are, what else is plugged into it. So again, you don't do a JW where you put the bar in the breaker and burn the house down kind of deal. I mean, I'm sure everybody knows that he was joking, but
or just screw out the fuse and put the penny in there.
Yeah, right. That's right.
I don't think they have those anymore.
Some older houses, I'm sure they do have the fuses.
Yeah, I got some out here in the building, some of the old buildings.
So every year I try to think of my calamity of the year, like that big learning lesson, the stupidest thing I did this year. And that was definitely, it was hard for me to think of one until that. But once that happened, I was like, well, this is clearly it. So I'm sitting outside on my in-laws' front porch, and there's like a house behind me. There is something in between these two houses scurrying around and digging in all the plants here. So I keep
probably one of the big 12-foot pythons.
No, it's probably an iguana.
I think it's like an armadillo or something. It sounds like a big rodent thing scratching around. So I keep looking back, trying to see.
Maybe it's a big rat.
Yeah.
What do they call them? They're not rats.
Nutria?
Squirrels?
A Newton or something like that.
Nutria?
Yeah.
It could always be a bear.
Thank you, Todd. At least it's not, hopefully it's not an alligator, right? Because there's a little pond over there, and there's alligators in there for sure.
I think JW was relocating some raccoons down to Florida.
Yeah, but especially if they have yellow stripes or blue stripes, you know where they came from.
So I thought this was a really good conversation. It started out just as honey warmers, but talking about heat and how you use heat to work with honey kind of became like a general theme as we kind of started hopping from other things.
The biggest thing about the quote heat and honey is that do you heat your honey? It's like that part of it. And I guess the general conversation of the general public is that they're thinking about the I don't know. Is there such thing as really pasteurizing honey? I always say there's no such thing.
Yeah, you can pasteurize it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are you going to do?
You're going to hit 160.
That's what's sold in the grocery stores.
Yeah.
You take it to a particular heat to kill all the yeast in it, but it does a lot of other negative things to it as well. So you can pasteurize it, but it just has a real negative effect.
Right.
Yep.
I mean, whereas I think everybody thinks about the general public thinks about it in that term, and we're trying to think about it as a way to make it just the viscosity just enough so we can manage it and pour it and do all the other things. My concern is like Ian and all them, when they got those big extraction lines, they run it through a heater system across, like in his shop. Now he's got liquid and wax all mixed together, and he's got to have a special pump and pump that thing through the heating coils. And then, of course, it goes through that
spinner,
Hooks and Beal spinner, that spin float, and it separates the wax. And I think the honey goes the other way, and then it goes into the tank, So I don't know. I presume it's heating it just for a few minutes, and it's not, and that's it. It doesn't hurt it, I guess.
And I think, your point about the customers, they think like they think about it in black and white terms. Heat and honey is bad. Mm-hmm. And it is bad if you don't manage it correctly, right? But if you manage it correctly.
I kind of feel like it's a play on words. You're either heating honey or you're warming honey.
Yeah. It's like the strainer versus filter conversation as well.
I strain my honey, but I don't filter my honey.
That's right.
Part of Bob Binney's talk in St. Louis last February was on this topic. Mm-hmm. He had put up some temperature ranges on the board there, and I can't remember them now, but
he did a video about that.
A video too. Yeah, it was the same thing.
That's right, Glade.
Yeah, it's about heat and time.
Warming, not cooking.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah, I mean, I get concerned about my hot box about, it might be, I mean, those buckets might be in there for a couple weeks,
Yeah.
and actually I had it up at like you say, 115 there for a while. And I'm like, hey, I don't really need it. It's going to stay in there for, let's say, 4 weeks before I
Yeah.
use it. What's it say? Here we go.
This is from Bob Benny's slides.
8 hours at 125 kills yeast.
Yeah, that's 125 degrees.
Yeah.
106 degrees.
Cold stops yeast at 32. Is that 32? Yeah.
No,
11.
52.
Oh, 52.
Yeah, cold stops the yeast activity at 52 degrees. So if you want to kill the yeast for 8 hours at 125 degrees Fahrenheit, 30 minutes at 145 degrees Fahrenheit, or 1 minute at 160 degrees Fahrenheit, you will kill the yeasts. But if you want to stop the yeast activity from working, meaning like to keep it from fermenting, get it down below 52.
Hey, Tom, can you text that to me? I want to keep that on
I
hand.
certainly will.
But so that's why I went from a 115. I actually went down to 112, and then I said, now 110. And I think I had it for a while there at like 105, but it was still at 105. The honey was kind of slightly applesaucey, as I call it.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then sometimes you get to where it's just like applesauce through and through.
Yep.
And that does not go through a screen.
Thank you, Tom. I'm sorry. I said thank you, Tom.
Okay. And that kind of stuff. So you have to kind of, and then I try to, like I say, try to cycle my buckets out of there as quick as possible. And that's where the bottling tank comes in.
I want to show you one more thing in this picture here. So see how these are 4 cases stacked here?
Yeah.
They're so it's a case of 12 in cardboard boxes. One thing I learned is the insulative property of these boxes. It is way better to take bottles out and have shelves like Todd was talking about, as opposed to doing this. If this is fine for me if I'm trying to keep it liquefied, but if I'm trying to decrystallize it, it's going to take a couple days longer. In fact, the box on the bottom is going to take way longer than the box on the top, even in a small little refrigerator like this. So thinking about how you put your honey into your honey warmer is important as well. This is fine. Yeah, go ahead.
Another thing is, in my situation where I have a refrigerator, now I took out all the shelving except for the little half shelf where I put the light on there, because I didn't want to go through drilling holes and all that stuff. Actually, that refrigerator will work as a refrigerator. The guy gave it to me and said it works, but it's dented, and he was reselling it, and it had rust on it on the outside. I said, don't matter to me. And he said, here, I'll give it to you, So depends on how high up, where of course it's hotter in the top and in the bottom. And then, like you were saying about, I'll have a few bottles that get murky looking, which are, they're starting to crystallize. Put them in the door at the top slots there. Come back the next day, and they're ready to roll. I mean, 12 hours. I mean, you put them in tonight, come back tomorrow morning, take them out of there. They're decrystallized. Now, have you noticed that when you decrystallize something like that, they don't normally recrystallize?
Mine tend to crystallize pretty quickly.
After you heat them one time?
Yep. In fact, I feel like if they crystallize, they're going to crystallize a whole lot faster if you reliquefy them.
That's odd, because mine will recrystallize, but at a way slower rate.
Huh.
That's so
well,
weird.
I guess, well, of course, my honey, it also depends. With honey, it depends on what is it? The sugar content.
The types of sugars.
Yeah. The how high it is in the content of the honey.
Yep.
And I've had some people, I really like yours because it doesn't crystallize. And I'm like, well, I said, it's the type of honey too. Now, if I get like locust honey, like Todd got there, where it's
Oh man,
that's a real high sugar content, and it's a real smooth.
it's
taste
very
honey.
good stuff.
Um,
I have about a half inch left in the bottle.
well, anyway, that will recrystallize pretty, after a
It's
while.
so far so good. It hasn't, but I have some of my stuff that has started to get applesaucey on the counter. But yours is fine. No problem at all.
I've had some people have it for a couple years and not crystallize, and others. I often wondered, because I put it in a bottling tank, does that affect it where I'm heating it and it's killing whatever it is that makes it crystallize? But I always figured it was the pollen particle and the
I'm sure people are still that also.
sugar molecule comes together and starts building.
Yeah.
Now, what size strainer do you use, Charlie? What size micron?
That common $40 strainer that you buy for your buckets.
So the metal, I don't know the size of the stainless.
I think they're what,
steel.
300 micron, 400 micron, something like that.
So I use 400 as well, and I think that could be a factor in crystallization too. The larger micron you use, the more particles like pollen are going to be in there to be catalysts for those crystals to build around. So I think one of the things I would recommend
Well,
is
what is it? Is it a 300 micron is a smaller hole than a 400, right?
correct. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So if you can get a 200 micron, you'll get less particles, which means less pollen in your honey.
Yeah,
But
well, see,
it does also mean that it would probably crystallize slower.
yeah, I don't. As far as crystallization with my hot box and my tank and all that, I don't have much problems with that.
Yeah.
And I don't have any complaints, and everybody likes my honey where, they've been supposedly cured of allergies. A lot of them.
A lot of other conditions I hear, Charlie.
Huh?
And it cures lots of other things I hear.
And that's what I like to tell people that come up to my booth and ask me if I sell pollen. Yeah, we keep our pollen in our honey.
Yeah, but something, those folks that want that, you're going to harvest pollen, right?
Yep.
Think about it. Where's that bee been at?
Well, I'm glad you
Is
brought
it
that up.
over here in the field where they just sprayed for, let's say I don't know, let's say not a fumigant.
Hey, I know what you're talking about. What about like the backyard guy that's spraying his dandelions with Roundup? Well,
not so much.
The nectar they're collecting.
It doesn't die right away.
For a beekeeper, and you kill your dandelions.
I spray them dead. Dead.
I'll start prepared your whole be nice field of yellow out there.
So Philip, did you clean up the floor?
No, I'd already cleaned the floor.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, here I'll tell you, I got it all set back up again. And yeah, when we what happened there?
You froze.
I don't know. It went black for some reason there. Let me see if I can.
Yeah,
you're back now.
Eric, that's why we got into creamed honey so fast, because we're like, what are we going to do with this honey that crystallizes? I know, we'll work with it. So Eric also lives in Colorado. He's a new beekeeper. He lives up north of me, and he came to meet me. I met him at a club where I was talking one time. I met him on here first, I think, and then he came to one of my markets, and we got to meet again then.
So have you determined there that it's high moisture content problem?
Yeah, I think that's what it is exactly. I don't think it's fermented, but it did foam up.
It's pre-fermenting.
It is. It will ferment, that's for sure. So what I did was, we just did one right now, but I just put in a cake pan, I just put some honey in there, and I put it over here in my warming cabinet with a dehumidifier in it.
Look at those nice little shelves you got there, Philip. Those little bottling shelves.
Oh,
those.
pieces of plywood.
Yeah.
This
That sounds
actually,
good.
this actually is a 6-frame nuke.
Yeah.
Not nuke, but a 6-frame honey box, whatever, medium.
Mhm.
Just use what you have, you know.
Look how he has the one drip connected to a bucket.
See, that's what Charlie was just making fun of earlier.
That's awesome.
What is it
I went-
now? Oh yeah, I see the bucket.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I have that one too. That's the full heated right there,
Yeah.
the Hilco.
That's the way to go.
But thing is, because I don't mix my honey together, I have to, you know, I'm not like Tom. I don't have 6 of these, you know.
One day.
I'm taking donations for a fourth one if you're offering.
Hey, why don't you donate one of those for the thing, and I'll put my name in the drawing.
Sounds good. I'll have to talk to Melissa because the beekeeping operation belongs to her. She says I'm just an employee, so
Oh,
I'll have to
right?
talk to her.
Noah made a bunch of candles for market. So see, they're
Oh,
still
nice.
in the molds.
Nice. You have one this Saturday?
Yeah, I have one on Saturday. We're building a bunch of gift baskets and whatnot.
Man, you're making me feel good about how my house looks, Philip.
Yeah, no kidding. Look at this. This is like full disclosure.
Yeah.
Pretty bad.
Is that your nerd factory?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was who was that? Yeah, Brian was saying it takes over.
Yeah.
Yes, that's exactly right. It takes over.
That's your basement, isn't it?
Yeah, I wish. We don't have basements. You know, it would flood.
Oh,
Now, there's product getting ready to go to market there.
You would flood out there. I figured you couldn't even dig into the dirt because you can't. It's cement. That's what they tell me. It's like what do they call it? Dinosaur dirt.
hey, Charlie, that's what dynamite's for.
I bought those nukes, and I still got all 20 of them from last year.
Wow.
This thing. Yeah. All right. Enough of that. But yeah, we've got some in a cake pan. It's in there drying. I'll probably end up putting 3 or 4 cake pans inside that. Really, what we have to do is we're missing the. Let's see, we're missing the 1 jar out of those. That's what we're trying to get. That's the crossroads we're looking for there to finish those up. But
What size tank is that, Philip?
7 gallons.
Is that the one you're getting, DC? DC's building himself a honey extracting line.
Hey,
He's built
DC,
an empire.
DC asked a question further up there too. So when you're looking at the microns on a filter, the smaller the number on the micron, the tighter the screen is, the less
smaller
it
the
allows
size.
through.
The
Yep.
smaller hole, basically.
Yep.
Yes.
So 400 microns is 4 times larger than 100 microns.
Correct.
Yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
What do you strain yours at, Tom?
I have a screen that I had built from Arbor Fab. He was at Nobby last year. He was out of Michigan.
Yeah.
I had him build one for me that's 500.
500. Why?
Did you
500?
ask why?
Yeah.
Well, that's a good question.
No, not why did you have him build one? Why did you choose 500 microns?
Yeah, no. That's a good question. So, I have filtered down below that, and I've also filtered at 600, and I felt like it was a good in between number because even though I want to still be able to consider and call my honey raw, so I still need pollens in there, and that's probably arguable. I've read that some pollens grains are as small as 50 microns. So let's argue a point here for just 1 second. If I have a 100 micron screen, is it still raw?
Well, raw just means it isn't
Because-
heated. That doesn't mean
you're taking everything.
Well, no, it doesn't. Because if the pollen, you need the Melissa's arguing with me now. Get over here. Let's argue about this. We'll arm wrestle. So I mean, if you're allowing pollens to go through, it still has some of the integrity, right? So I mean, like Brian said earlier, this is not always black and white, and people are looking for a black and white answer. But in all reality, you can't give them that. But back to what you asked, Brian, is we've filtered down to like 400, but also had done 6, and I thought that. Again, the 5 was a good in between. I actually talked to Cayman and a couple other guys, and I said, "Hey, just curious, what did you have him because he built a couple of them for Cayman and a couple other people. I said, what did you have him build? And walk me through this, because the filter setup that he built, kind of like Charlie was talking about earlier, if you go to Maxant, they're extremely proud of them, like $500 worth proud, and I won't pay that. I had this one custom built for like $250, but it's made to go on top of drums. And anyway, that's kind of what I came up with, and asking a lot of questions to people, because I was going to build it. It's like a one and done. I'll have this for a lifetime.
Yep.
So I could still have a nice, clear presentation in the bottle. When you hold it up and look at it, it looks very good. But again, I've not removed all the pollen. So
Your buddy's got some feedback for
Well,
you.
is there a standard as far as how much? All right, if you use one of them filter bags, like you see these big commercial guys have, it doesn't take 100% of the pollen out, but it takes enough out that it won't crystallize. So where's I'll say the break off point here, where who has set the rules and saying, if it has this amount of pollen in it, it's raw, versus this amount of pollen it doesn't have in it and it's not considered raw. I haven't heard anything of that.
Good question. And what I don't know the answer to that, but what
Me
I
either.
try to do is just know the answer of what I do for my customers.
I went to my club meeting last night, and I had a guy there that he wants to learn how to graft. So he finally came, he's been at it for 10 years. So he's been beekeeping. And so I got to talking to him. And he has hives on, and this is probably Todd can answer this. He has hives on a organic farm. There it is.
Yeah, that's sweet.
that's 500. You're looking at me through 500. It's got a hose holder built in. It's got tabs that allow it to sit on top of a plastic or a metal 55-gallon drum. And it's pretty sturdy.
Hold that in front of your face one more time, Tom. I think you should have went with 200.
I knew that was coming.
Hey, Philip, I love you too, buddy.
All right. So he says he has not treated his bees for the last 3 years. And he's had 100% success rate going through the summer or the winter last year. Now, of course, he said they might die this year. Who knows? But I'm looking at him. I say, okay, I'm thinking to myself, okay, I use, is what they tell me, organic mite treatments. I use thymol, oxalic acid, and formic acid. Now, who regulates that? Is that the EPA setting that standard that they are considered organics?
That's the EPA part. So the easiest way
Well,
to
if I told that, let's say it's an apple farmer or something like that, I'm saying, well, I'm more scared of what you're doing because obviously he's certified organic. But I says, I'm using organic pesticides or miticides for my bees. So they should not affect you and your status of your farm.
Yeah. And that's what I do. I have to. Otherwise I can't treat. And I'm not treating. That's
right. Now he says his hives have been surviving. Maybe they've been lucky to survive. I don't know. He might lose 1 or 2 hives in the wintertime, and that's normal. So I'm like, maybe I need to graft off some of his queens.
Yeah. If they make it again this year, why not?
Yeah.
So Brian, on that organic question, I get that question at least once a week at the market. Is your honey organic?
There's no such thing as organic honey.
Not anymore.
Not in the United States.
True. Yep. I try to stay away from the word organic because it's
I do too, but I still have to stop and
anything.
explain to them what that means.
So when someone brings it up, I say I use treatments, but I use the organic treatments, the treatments that are natural in nature, not the synthetic ones. Is that what you mean by organic?
I like the way you kind of turn it.
Turn it around.
Yeah, because what do you mean by organic, right? What does that mean? That means different things to different people. I'll tell you what it means to me. Does that answer your question? So that's how
Well, I always tell them, I said, if you find organic honey in the store, look at it closer because it didn't come from the United States. Look at it close and see what the source is. Because the United States accepts the terminology of other countries, and they don't have the same standards that we have.
I don't think there's anything organic in this country anymore, just for the simple reason that glyphosate is in the atmosphere. So when it rains everywhere and spreads that everywhere. So it gets into the soil. It doesn't, I mean, you could be an organic farmer like this guy at the farm here, the manager. He thinks he's, and I've had this discussion with him several times, and he denies it. But there's glyphosate in his soil because it comes out of the sky now. So much has been sprayed around the world that it's everywhere. Yeah. So you just have
they say all beeswax contains some small parts of glyphosate in them, regardless of whether or not you're a treatment-free or
I've been asked that question too.
Farmer, whatever
is there any glyphosate in your honey? I've been asked that several times. But we get that when there's a dust storm out in West Texas, it'll get on our cars over here in Dallas, and that's hundreds of miles away.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Well, they talked about that in the Dust Bowl days where they were shoveling a foot of dirt off the top of the Empire State Building.
What's it say? These no-life cats are organic.
JW is organic.
I think he means full of something.
Yeah, he's full of organic, isn't he?
Once when I was a teacher, we were doing states of matter. So I asked this young man whose name was Mars. That probably puts his personality into perspective. What state of matter are you, Mars? All three?
3 antennas coming out.
Yeah. Yeah. And I was like, correct. You are correct, Mars.
Was this kid from out of this world?
Well, I mean, talking about
he was definitely an artsy family, out there, kind of hippy-dippy family.
Mm-hmm.
But Lynn that comes on here from Baltimore Bee Club, she just got a question, is your honey organic? I tell them there's no such thing.
Yeah. So if they start asking me about are my bees foraging on organic plants, I say that my bees will travel up to 3 miles for food. Typically, they won't go that far if they don't have to. So most of their traveling is going to be around 3/4 of a mile radius. That's about where they're getting most of their food. I can't control where they're going. I can control how I take care of my bees, but I can't control where they're getting food. Well, I don't say no. I explain why that's not a thing, right?
Yeah. And I always add that they're probably getting some root beer from the elementary school.
Nice.
You mean you don't talk to them in the morning before they go out? Now, I want you to only go to plants today, and
you get them in there like the Walmart employees and get them all fired up to go.
No dumpster diving today.
Hey, Todd,
we're gonna kill it today.
And nobody goes over to the M&M plant and get any pink and blue honey. They found in that one hive over in Europe.
I remember.
And then here in Baltimore, the big thing down in Baltimore around the harbor there is the domino sugar sign.
Yeah.
Fluorescent. Well, a friend of mine, her daughter and her husband live up on Federal Hill, which is like a hill in the city right above the domino plant. Well, they're making something like 250 pounds of honey. I was serious. It's like she got 50 pounds out here in the county, and they're making 250 pounds of honey off of 2 hives.
Yeah, well, I was per
hive.
I was gonna say that because I remember watching Bob Walker go to pick up syrup. And when he's filling this thing full of stuff, there are bees flying all over the place. And I'm like, man, whoever's keeping bees around there is just selling sugar syrup.
Mm-hmm.
That's
hey, Philip, ignorance is bliss.
That's right.
But they're down there at that plant, they're boiling sugar, and you got molasses coming off of that, which is the byproduct of making white sugar. And they got
Probably makes
white
good sugar.
down
Oh, good
there.
honey.
And I mean, them bees were just sucking it up.
That's fun. Hey, but you can park. That'd be a good place to park your bees at when you want to,
Yeah, fatten them up.
honey. But to get fattened up, you just park them right there.
You just go down there with a trailer and let them suck it in.
Yeah.
That would be nice if you could have a spot that keeps the damn public away, and you could park it inside a compound.
Yeah.
Man, they'd be zoom, 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 zoom.
That's free feed.
So I had a friend of mine who got a review. I don't know if it was on Google or Instagram or something, but someone posted something about their honey because it was a light honey. It was really light honey, like not real honey, corn syrup or something like that. Posted it as a comment on something official. They actually had to go through a route to get it removed, and they got it removed legally because it was just someone not knowing what they were talking about. But that was part of that.
I got one of our guys that's actually on the board of directors.
Yeah.
And he's got some honey, and you hold it up and it's white. It's it's murky white. And I said, and the guy, he had it at a show, and he says, "What's this bullshit? It must be sugarwood or something, And he says, "No." And he lives next to a grove of locust trees that's real predominant where he lives. I told him, I said, "Harry, I think you've got the absolute purest locust honey there is." And he'll, he pulls the varietals out and stuff. Yeah. And all. But I asked, what's it taste like? He said, it tastes like honey.
I saw a guy, I think it was in Vermont, and he's like the only person that's ever got like a perfect score in a state honey contest. And he explained that when, he's a pretty small beekeeper, but he pulled the frame out and he saw it was just crystal clear. And he pulled it out and he just extracted the one frame and put it in a jar and submitted it. So he found like the best of the best. And he said that's the only way he did it. He wouldn't have gotten it if he had mixed it with any other frames.
Well, it's like I was watching Melissa and Tom here, and they go through, y'all go through every frame by frame by frame to get your most lightest honey versus your darkest honey. And I'm like, really? I mean, that light honey that they had there, that's about the sharpest looking honey I ever seen.
Hey, she's the boss, so she has to make those calls, right, Tom?
Hey, you got it, buddy. That's it. Hey,
by the way,
you're the boss. It all lies in your shoulders, right? Right, boss?
By the way, where is Melissa? That's gonna be our new tagline, call line.
She's back there.
She's doing payroll right now.
No, she's doing this. Her little lip balms.
All right. I did that last night.
How many did you make today?
Over the last 2 days, I probably made over 1,000 lip balms.
She said she made over 1,000 lip balms. Here you go.
I made like 60.
It's sweatshop material over here, Philip.
No, I didn't make that. I'll tell you.
Where'd that go?
You can crank out lip balms. They're tiny.
I ventured out a little bit. I got my inner Bryan going. I started doing some chapsticks, and I made some lotion bars too.
Nice.
I looked up the lotion bar recipe today, and I'm going to order my cocoa butter and make some for the not Saturday, but the next market.
Yeah, I did some field marketing in my office, so I ate the cost on them, but I'm like having all the ladies in there tell me, "Hey, yeah, I like this," or if there's something wrong with it, I ask them, "What's wrong with it?" But everybody likes them so far, so I'm pretty happy with it.
Nice.
Well, don't you put shea butter or
shea
something?
butter, cocoa butter, obviously beeswax, a couple other things, and then some scents, whatever scent you want. This scent, I don't think I told you, Brian. The one I made was bourbon butterscotch.
Yeah,
It's pretty
I
good.
think you did. Yeah.
Yeah. So they really turned out nice. And I
Nice.
have the little tins.
Ask him about that.
And the real cool thing about the tins is if you put those unbleached coffee filters, if you put them in those coffee filters, you can fold them over. And when you put the lid on and leave it on there for a while, the next time it's opened up, that folded paper stays down looks like a tissue paper, but it's really nice because when you shake the can, it doesn't bang around in it, and it's pretty
Oh
cool.
yeah. Yeah.
Happy with that.
That's a good idea.
Yeah. So,
All right, folks. It's late. It is almost midnight. This was a great talk, though. Thank you, everyone. Again, that theme of warming honey was really a nice conversation, and it went different directions. But that was hopefully that gives some people ideas around how they can store their honey, how they can manage their honey as they're working on selling. Hopefully, they got a good harvest this year. So next, I can't put on the banners that I already put up. But I did already put up the next Todd and Bryan chat will be Wednesday. We're not going to do Thanksgiving, right? That would be 2 weeks from today. Can you imagine, Tom, right? But we will do the Wednesday before Thanksgiving. So it will be after the stream team if they go on that Wednesday. And I put it on your channel, Todd. We'll go back and forth.
that's fine.
Perfect. Right on. Well, thanks, Charlie, for coming on, adding your expertise. Todd, as always, thanks for being a great co-pilot. Philip, Melissa, thanks for coming on. Tom, thanks for coming on.
I'm really Melissa.
I started talking to people about my role at EMBA, and I was like, I'm also the pinch hitter. If Tom needs me for anything, I'm the man. So let me know if any of those pinch hitting opportunities jump in so I can start putting my brain on that.
Okay.
Cool.
Thanks.
All right, Philip, have a great night. Take
Good
care
night.
of that honey issue for sure. What are you going to do with it? What are you going to do with that bucket?
I'm just going to dry it down a little at a time.
Yeah. And then
And
bottle
I'll
it.
probably dry it down and put it in another bucket to fill those jars we need and just dry it as I need it
Gotcha.
until I get it all done.
If you put that into a heated bottling tank, will that dry the moisture out of that honey?
Back when I had to do this before, 2 years ago, yes, but they say you have to really heat it. You have to heat it way up, like 140 or something, to get it to do that.
Well,
I don't
you
want-
put
I don't-
heat. If it's fermented, yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to heat it that much though.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna try to use the dehumidifier first, and I've only got it set at about 80 right now. My warmer only goes to 108, and my thermostat does. So.
Will you keep it in that bucket, or will you try to spread out that surface area somehow?
Well, I filled about 3/4 of an inch in a kind of a cake pan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's all that's in there. That's really probably enough to do the few jars that we need to complete those sets. But I've got probably 4 or 5 of those cake pans, so I can put all of them in there at one time. And that's what I did before. Was I built a rack and I put it in my closet with a dehumidifier. It took me like 3 days to do a bucket. It's painful. I was having flashbacks when I realized I had to do something similar. I was like, oh, I don't want to do this again.
Are you picking up a cake pan and then tipping it out in the corner back into a bucket?
Yes, and then you take one of those
Wow.
rubber things, cake icing things, and scrape it back. Yeah, it's a job. It's a job.
Can you put it into multiple buckets? Just spread it into multiple buckets and then leave them set out, and then in a clean room, or put a little screen over the top of it so no debris gets in it, and then dehumidifier that area.
I guess I could.
Put a put a paint screen over top of it.
I don't think my humidity gets low enough here for that. That would take forever, I think. Our humidity here might, if we're lucky, gets down to like 60. If we're lucky.
Oh man.
Well, Bob
That's
Benning
bad.
actually
I
had.
think tonight it was 53 in my house. So
You know,
tomorrow morning it'll be higher. It's higher in the mornings.
you still have humidity out there in the middle of the winter?
Yeah, we do.
Here's another Bob Benny bit of information here.
Hey,
Yeah.
Tom, would you mind sending that to me too,
Sure.
please? Thank you.
That has the humidity and the moisture right there. At
What does it say?
60%, at 60%, you won't be able to get it down below 18.3.
Uh-huh.
So the lower the humidity in the atmosphere, the area that you're trying to dry it,
Right.
the faster you'll be able to get the moisture down.
Well, as soon as I close that warmer up with that dehumidifier in it, and I don't think the dehumidifier done anything because that warmer was set to 80 and it was closed up without any outside air.
Mhm.
It was reading 30% humidity inside there. Because I've got a.
You know,
Oh, let's see.
you know what bugs me about this is, that yeast is cooking off basically because it's hot or it's at a tip. I would almost wonder if you could turn that yeast off by chilling it, and then slowly but
down.
surely.
It just slows it down, and once it warms back up,
Yeah.
it wakes it back up again.
Shut it down, yeah.
Remember the number in there? 52 degrees. 52 degrees or lower, and the yeast will halt. They're
See,
working.
He's at
Oh, yeah.
30%.
Yeah,
That says 89 and 30%.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what's in there right now.
Yeah, so Tom, 52 degrees is when you. I'm sure that's like a ballpark because I'm sure yeast is different, right?
Read the bottom line.
Cold stops yeast activity. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
But it doesn't kill the yeast. It just
Correct.
kind of makes it go dormant.
Yes, you're absolutely right. It's not gonna kill it. I think in order to kill those yeast or to stop them, you have to get up to that.
The pasteurization.
140.
Yes,
Yep.
the
You
upper
kill it at
echelon of the
140.
temperatures.
So that's why I'm wondering if Philip chills it first and then works from there, because you got to stop the yeast. It's going to react. So if you turn it up, there you go, Brian. If you turn the yeast off, I think it would be easier to work with. I don't know.
I don't have any. I don't have any space. That's my freezers are full. My refrigerators are full. There's no way.
All by your room there, Philip.
Yep.
Take it to JW's house. He'll fix it for you.
JW is a moonshiner. He knows all about this yeast stuff or something.
Mhm.
No, I'm kidding. He's not a moonshiner.
Hey, Charlie, before we hop off, do you want to talk about your guest tomorrow?
Oh,
I'm going to have Michael. I can't pronounce his last name.
Erpenbeck.
Ertenbach.
Yeah, he's going to have the his Tech Bee smoker. I keep calling it a Bee Tech smoker myself. But,
Technically beekeeping.
yeah, but I just got a notification where I bought one, and it's sort of a, what would you call it, a
Kickstarter?
a GoFundMe type
Okay.
page.
It's a pledge. It's called
a pledge. And I just looked at it today, and I think he's up to $50-some thousand.
Nice.
So he's met his within. Well, I got a first email. The second email was that after 12 hours, he met his money requirement, I guess, to buy the molds and do all the different stuff. So he's definitely on his way. Now he's beyond that amount, and I think tomorrow night that I'm sure we'll drop a link that you guys can get a I'll say a pre-sale discount. I'm not sure on that for everybody, but it looks, like I say, I got mine. bought, and it's like for me, it was like he wouldn't hit my credit card until the 27th to see where
Right.
his money is. Well, he's already done that within 12 hours. There's
Yeah.
close to 200 people have already bought.
Yeah.
That speaks to demand.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it was 190 the last time I looked at it. I'm probably sure it's over 200 now of backers, as they call them.
Yeah.
And I'm excited. The main thing I want to know is what I know. It's a Milwaukee battery. I know it's the type that kind of fits up into a handle, and I think it's called I don't know, maybe Tom knows, M12 battery.
It's an M12, Milwaukee M12.
It's an M12 battery, and there's different amp hours and stuff like that. Because right now, Black Friday's on. I looked at Home Depot, and you can buy a charger with a 4 amp hour and 2 3 amp hour batteries for like $190 some. You know, as a kit, and that's half price. Usually it's $400, something like that. I guess I'm not sure how many. I don't think that thing's going to take a lot of amp hours to run.
Tomorrow at
8 o'clock
Eastern time.
8 Eastern Standard, 7 Central. What is it? 6 Mountain.
6 Mountain, 5 Pacific. You'll have Michael from Technically Beekeeping. Is that right?
Yeah. Technical beekeeping.
Technically beekeeping.
You know, us West Coast folks are definitely going to want to pay attention to that, as anyone who lives in an area that's prone to fires should think about an electric smoker. So I'll definitely be paying attention to it for sure.
Yeah, right now you can, like I say, without the price of the unit, I'm going to say what was it, Todd? 175, somewhere in that.
Something like that. I can't remember now.
It's the price plus $10 shipping.
Yeah, 175. Yeah.
Okay.
And minus the batteries.
Yeah.
So
if you have your own, you have your own. So.
Yeah, you know, I don't think I have any. My son we always had the big ones, the shoe type that fit on drills and things like that. But anyway, I just need to find out what battery so I can buy a battery charging unit and have the right size batteries for it. And I don't see me. I mean, for me, it's not so much a fire hazard, but yeah, that's right. Joseph set his truck on fire, and left a smoker in the back of the truck, and it was on fire. Luckily, it was one of them nice trucks where enclosed back in with carpet on it. So I mean, he could have totally lost it big time. But for me, it's like when I was putting insulation on the top of my hives here a couple of weeks ago. You had the vent hole, and I have a 1/4-inch piece of wood that I made that you put that over top of the hole, and then you put your insulation board. All I need is a couple little puffs just to get the bees to go back and down in the hole.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. For me, it's like maybe I don't know how to light a smoker after 16 years. Obviously I don't. It's like some people say, you put your needles in there, and then you put your smoker fuel, your pellets in there, and you light it and you build it. And, in 15 to 20 minutes later, you finally get it going, and it's great for the rest of the day. Well, I don't need it for the rest of the day. I only need it for a little bit.
Yeah.
And with this thing here, I think he's going to, right now, I look at it, it's reasonably priced for what it is compared to that Apis Socialis machine, the bellows thing. I was watching one of the guys that demonstrated it. He said, "Oh, if the battery goes dead, all I got to do is jam another battery in there. If he's got 2 batteries, where the other one has got you have to plug it up in order to charge to charge it." Yeah. So he said, if I'm dead in the water, then I got to go back to the other smoker. So that's some of the advantages of the design of this unit.
Charlie, save some of it for tomorrow.
Yeah. I'm excited. I think it's great.
I think it is too. Yeah,
it's an awesome unit. It's so much fun to have something like that saves hundreds of hours over the season.
Yeah.
I mean, aggravation. for me, it's aggravation. I've gotten to the point where I work my bees without smoke because I never could get the darn smoker lit. And you just get used to working bees without a smoker.
Did you see my joke the other day when you were talking about this?
Uh-uh.
You know why you don't know how to learn a smoker? Because they teach that at EAS, Charlie.
Oh,
And with that, folks, I'm going to say goodnight. It was an armadillo. Once it got close, I got up and looked, and I was like, okay, it's an armadillo. Now I'm not worried anymore. So
I'm glad
so
it
did
wasn't
you go over there and
there.
hit it like that? Did it ball up?
no, it ran away. I got up. I don't know if you saw me. I put down my computer
Yeah.
at one point because it
Yeah.
got close. So it ran away. So
That's my because I've ever seen my armadillo video.
I did actually. Yeah.
Oh, did you hear that?
Yeah.
Oh.
Team armadillo, what?
A video.
Oh,
All right, folks, have a great night. Go
All
to
right.
Charlie's tomorrow if you want to learn more about the electric smoker.
VTech.
And Joey's usually on Saturdays, Tim and Hannah on Sundays, and then the week starts right back over again with Grayson and Bill
Yeah.
on Monday night. All right, have a great night, everybody.
all
Good
right.
night.
Good night, everybody.